Hey there guys, and welcome back to Dark Souls 2. In the last video, after soul farming and leveling up several times, we went and fought the last giant boss fight. And if you remember at the end of the last video, I showed you guys that after defeating the lost giant, you can use his soul that you acquired for more souls, or you can wait and hold on to that so that you can trade it in whenever we get to a certain NPC for either some weapons, armor, or items. And also take note that after you defeat every boss or any boss and you obtain their boss soul, you can hold on to it so that you can trade it to an NPC for a certain shield or weapon or armor, or you can use it right away to acquire more souls. Alright, so after we defeated the last giant boss, we also got the soldier's key, which allows us to access locked areas behind some locked doors in the Forest of the Fallen Giants and the Cardinal Tower. So the first door we're going to explore, now that we have the soldier key, is right above the Cardinal Tower Bonfire. So just behind, or just beside the Merchant Hag Melantina, you will find a staircase that'll lead you up to the top. Here you'll find a door off to the right, so you can now open it now that you have the soldier's key. Alright, so as soon as you enter this room, go ahead and take out the knight that's playing dead, and then you'll find a corpse you can loot for a hand axe and a radiant life gem. Alright, now we can open up the chest, and you'll find a small leather shield as well as a repair powder. So let's take a look at this shield and compare it. This shield is actually better than the Crimson Parma shield we're using now, and that's because if you look off to the right, the stats, blue indicates that it's an increase and red indicates it's a decrease. So as you can see, our physical attack damage is reduced. It's at 90%, so that means when blocking we'll only take 10% of damage, which is really good. So I highly suggest to equip the large leather shield as soon as you can. It only requires 7 strength. Alright, so after you do that, there is another door in this room that you can open up. Go ahead and open that up, and it'll lead you to a chest. And this chest contains a Estus Flask Shard and a small white sign soapstone. So the Estus Flask Shard we can use to strengthen our Estus Flask, and the small white sign soapstone will allow us to put it down and be summoned to another character's world if you're playing online. But also take note that you will only be in that character's world for a short amount of time, and then you'll be returned to your world. But we already have the regular white sign soapstone, so that is a whole lot better to use than the small sign soapstone, unless you're trying to get in someone's world and then get out as quick as you can so that you can resume playing your game. So the small white sign soapstone is generally used if you're hollowed and you want to return to human form, but you don't want to use a human effigy, or you don't have a human effigy. You can put down your small white sign soapstone to allow you to help a character out, and it usually takes like 5 or 10 minutes, and then you'll return to your world and you'll be revived to human form. So it's very handy. Alright, so after we loot that chest for the Estus Flask Shard, if you look over the ledge, you'll see that there is actually a corpse hanging down on a tree root. So we're going to have to drop down onto it. So hopefully a generous guy will leave a message for you to show where to drop off at. But in case they didn't, the drop off spot is right here where I'm standing. Walk off very slow and you should land on the tree root. Turn around to pick up the item for a divine blessing. Alright, then we can drop down lower and rest at the bonfire if you want. Alright, so the next locked door that we're going to be going through is directly across. If you remember where the fire longsword was, there was a salamander type enemy that was spitting fireballs at us. So it's directly behind the wall of that. You can't really see it from that location. So what you're going to have to do is head down the ladder right here next to the Cardinal Tower bonfire. And then you're going to want to turn left and then enter the last door on the left. Now as soon as you enter this room, you can turn to the right and you'll find the locked door. So now that we have the soldier's key, we can enter this area. And this is going to be the next optional area. Now be very careful when you advance in this area, because there's a lot of those turtle enemies with the heavy armor on. And they can be very overwhelming, especially if you're not used to killing them yet. So make sure you proceed with caution. But before we actually explore this area, a quick detour to get a very useful ring that will help us out. Okay, so instead of taking the last door on the left, go down the ladder directly beside the Cardinal Tower bonfire. And then you want to head over the short bridge and turn right. Here you'll find the third locked door. Now if you go ahead and use the soldier key to open this door, you can head to the end of the path to find a treasure chest. Go ahead and open up this chest and you'll get a ring of restoration and a torch. Now this ring is very, very helpful, and let me show you why. Because the ring of restoration will gradually restore your HP. So as long as you have this ring equipped, you will slowly recover your lost HP. This is a very useful ring to have, especially if you're out of Estus Flask, because simply waiting in an area with this ring equipped will allow you to restore your HP to full. So I would highly suggest to equip this ring as soon as possible. You should replace the stone ring. Yeah, you can replace the stone ring with this ring of restoration. So right now my ring setup is I have the blue seal, which slightly increases HP. The covetous silver serpent ring +1, which allows us to get 20% more souls. The Chloranthy ring, which gives us stamina regeneration. And the ring of restoration, which gives us health regeneration. Alright, so before we go on, let's see here. Alright, so before we go on, if you turn right just after the locked door, you can actually head outside. Now this leads to a dead end for now, and you'll notice that this blue black door, when you approach it, it'll say produce the symbol of the king. So now in order to get this door to open, you're going to need the king's ring, which is found late in the game. So just remember where this door is for now, because we're going to be coming back to it way later on in the game. Alright, so let's head back to the other door that we opened up with the soldier's key. And it's time to head deeper into the Forest of the Fallen Giants, or the Cardinal Tower bonfire. Alright, so as soon as you head down the stairs, turn left, and you'll find an undead sitting on the wall. Quickly take him out. Be very careful because these tortoise-like enemies or turtle-like enemies in heavy armor will quickly rush you. Just make sure to block or dodge as necessary. So take out the first one that rushes you and then head forward. And here you can enter the side hallway to the left to find a corpse. Loot the corpse for a black firebomb ×3 and a homeward bone. Alright, so after taking them out, continue forth and you'll find an undead. Take him out and then continue on. And just ahead to the left, you'll find another turtle enemy. Use the same tactics as before. Make sure to dodge because we don't quite have a shield that reduces damage by 100 just yet. Alright, so after you take him out, you'll find another corpse off to the right at the end of the hallway. Go ahead and loot that for a torch. Continue on and take out the next undead enemy. Make sure to heal up to full health because this next area is very dangerous. You're going to have multiple turtle enemies. So as soon as you exit the door outside, quickly enter the next door and you'll be confronted by a mauler in a very tight space, which is going to make it very hard to take this guy out. Oh crap. So quickly take out the mauler because behind you is going to be another one. And we're going to have to take out yet another mauler. Alright, so after taking out the second mauler, you can go ahead and climb the nearby ladder. And up top you'll find 2 more maulers. So the way to do this is quickly take out the mauler that's right next to you. Alright, so he might actually fall down the hole where we actually climbed up from. If he does, you can do a plunging attack to do more damage and land on top of him and take him out down below. But if he doesn't, you can take him out up top by sticking close to this wall so that you don't attract the attention of the other mauler standing off to the right. After you take him out, go ahead and take out the second mauler up here. Also take note that sometimes the second mauler won't even notice you right away, allowing you to go up and get a couple of strikes on him. You might even be able to kill him outright before he even notices you're there. Before we head back downstairs, loot the corpse at the end of the roof for a soul of a nameless soldier and 3 cracked red eye orbs. Now go ahead and there's 2 ladders on the rooftop. One will lead you to the side of the building where there's an archer. And if the archer hasn't walked off the side of the cliff and killed himself yet, you can actually pull out your bow and arrow and snipe him from a distance. Because he's very annoying, because we're going to have to fight more maulers down there, which are the turtle guys, by the way. The maulers are the turtle guys in the heavy knight armor. So from now on, I'm going to be referring to them as either turtles or maulers. Alright, so after you do that, go ahead and climb back down the ladder we used to reach the roof. Alright, so proceed with caution when you go further in the house, because right around this corner you'll be ambushed by 2 undead. Quickly take out the 2 undead and then head to the back of the house to find a corpse you can loot for a bastard sword. Alright, so after you do that, go ahead and exit the house and you'll find one last mauler as well as an undead. Quickly take out the undead so that you can focus on the mauler. And with the last mauler down, you can now explore the area. There's another corpse you can loot behind him by the closed off gate. Go ahead and loot this corpse for an amber herb and green blossom. Then enter the nearby house. Go ahead and head through the ruined building and turn right, where you'll find a wooden platform. If you head up these wooden steps, you'll find a chest in the corner. Go ahead and loot this chest for a large soul of a proud knight, hunter's hat, leather armor, leather gloves, and leather boots. So if you don't have any good armor, you can actually equip this leather armor. Because it's a whole lot lighter than the heavier armor you're wearing now, and it has some pretty solid defense. So I would suggest to equip the leather boots, the leather gloves, and the leather armor. And if you want, now that we have lighter armor on, you can equip the old ironclad helm if you manage to get one to drop from the mauler. So if you manage to get an old ironclad helm, go ahead and equip that. However, it does take 14 strength in order to equip it. So if you don't have 14 strength, then just go ahead and equip something else. Alright, now that we have a new set of armor on, go ahead and head back down the wooden steps and enter the building to the right. Here you'll find a new bonfire we can light up. Also, be sure not to rest at the bonfire unless you want all these enemies to respawn. Alright, So there's one more locked door that we can open in the Forest of the Fallen Giants, and this actually leads to another boss fight as well as the next area of the game. So what you're going to want to do is head back to the Cardinal Tower Bonfire the same way we came. So let's go ahead and backtrack now. And you can rest at the bonfire. Just take note that it will respawn all the enemies. And that's all we have time for on this episode. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to soul farm in the area we just went through where all of the turtle enemies were, or the maulers. So you can go ahead and come back to the Cardinal Tower Bonfire and rest to respawn all the enemies, and then head back down there and clear them all out. Or you can actually rest at that new bonfire that we just found, the Soldier's Rest Bonfire. But take note that if you rest at that area, you might be ambushed as soon as you leave that room with the bonfire, because there are a lot of maulers and there's also an archer nearby. So it might be harder to clear the enemies out that way, which is why I recommend coming back to the Cardinal Tower Bonfire and resting up here. That way you can go back down there and take them on one-on-one like we did before. Either way, you should get about 4,000 souls, 3,000 to 4,000 souls from clearing out that areas of enemies. If you are wearing this covetous silver serpent ring +1, you'll get an additional 20% souls. So if you're going to want to farm that area of souls, make sure you have the covetous silver serpent ring equipped. And since we get about 3,000 souls per run through there, if you clear them out 10 times in a row, you'll get about 30,000 souls, which is very useful for leveling up if you want to soul farm here. But alright, that's it for this video. I'm going to go ahead and soul farm, and then I'll see you guys back once I've killed all the enemies to where they're not respawning anymore. Usually it takes about 10 run-throughs. You rest at the bonfire and kill all the enemies 10 times, and that will stop them from respawning. Also, it'll give you a chance to explore that area if you missed any items or you were wanting to collect the items. It'll allow you to explore it a lot better because there's no more enemies spawning there. And you'll walk away with 30,000 souls, so you'll be able to level up several different times. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now, and I'll see you guys whenever I'm done. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next time on the next episode of Dark Souls.